Hi, I'm Christy Mokutupu, call me Mockers. Today is a disappointing day in Australia today here in Australian politics. If you're watching this from overseas, many Australians are disappointed today across the board because in federal parliament they voted for domestic COVID vaccine passports. So what that means now is that Australians are going to be punished for their vaccine choice here in Australia. For Australians that do not want to get the vaccine yet, or do not want to get the vaccine at all, or have making any medical decisions for their body, are now going to be punished by being excluded and segregated in our community all around Australia. And it sets a bad precedent for our children and our future, that this is the start of division that we are walking into. And we were the ones on this day, whoever was there that voted, that started it. And that's my point of view on it. And I'm not going to live under that leadership that made these decisions. It's been going for a while, and today just confirmed that we have leaders here that just work for majority, some Australians, but not all Australians. I believe we should work for all Australians. We should work for the majority, and we should work for the minority. And I'm not seeing that in Australian politics. Very disappointing today with the Labor and Liberal parties. There was only 2 members in the whole federal parliament that voted for it. We honour and salute them today. That's George Christensen and Craig Kelly. We thank you so much for standing up and for having courage and balls to vote, maybe being laughed at. We could see in the video there was a bit of jokes going around, and I can't imagine what courage it takes to stand up against so much people that think they're doing the right thing. And maybe you think you are, but many of us don't. And so we have the right to believe that you are making the wrong decisions, just like you have the right to think you're making the right decisions. And therefore we are working towards now making sure that we do not vote for Labor and Liberal in the future elections, because there won't be any change in that. There's nothing going to change by keeping Labor and Liberal in. And the campaign will begin. It was already beginning. I was always a Liberal voter, but that's changed after watching the Liberals give up on freedoms, which is what they stood for. They were all about liberty and freedoms. And to see that just disappear today was so disappointing, but we knew it was coming. I grew up in Greenacre, and I grew up in humble beginnings in Australia. I grew up with a very standard, beautiful, happy childhood, Australian childhood. I went into elite sport in Australian sport. I carried the Australian flag. I sang the anthem. I've had a very strong foundation in Australian culture and way of life. We have lost our identity and our culture in Australia, and that Australian spirit. That kangaroo that we see on the Qantas plane,